show that you have it right there and then take it off when you're ready to, I mean, we are distant. Ready? Okay, then I will just right off the bat. Welcome to our weekly commission meeting here in Davis County. We have our masks right with us, and we are also 6 feet distanced, and really glad to have everyone here to participate. It is 4 p.m. on Tuesday, July 7th. The place where we meet is at the Administration Building, 61 South Main Street, Suite 303 here in Farmington, Utah. We do still have our attendance limited because of COVID-19 to 20 or less in the room, which is not a problem for us. All 3 commissioners are here. In the audience, we have our civil attorney, Mike Kendall, also our elected clerk auditor, Curtis Koch, and we're happy to see Becky Guinness from the Clipper here, who's been covering and trying to help our citizens throughout the county and our businesses know how to navigate the pandemic along with the county. So we do still have our meetings able to be viewed online. You can access that from the website, the county's website, and they are taped there as well. Anyone wishing to direct comments to the commission regarding a public hearing or to comment about anything on the agenda can do so in person or email comments to our email address, and there's options for that also found on the website. As long as we receive it by 3:30 p.m. the day of the meeting, that will be available to all the commissioners to take the public comment. And we have not received any public comment related to this agenda today that I'm aware of. So we will have our opening, our Pledge of Allegiance, and I've asked if Becky Guinness from the Clipper would be willing to stand and lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. We have done a little change with our recognition of Milestone Anniversaries, and we are moving it to the beginning of the month so that there's time for all of our wonderful staff to be able to receive their recognition certificates and the medallions and their gift cards actually earlier rather than at the end of the month. So we'll start with that today. We miss being able to have these people in the room with us. We were doing that and love to have all of their fellow colleagues be able to come sometimes too and recognize. So hopefully they're either watching or they will receive from their supervisor the recognition that we are very appreciative of people who work diligently for our county for years of service. And we always have a number of these, so I will start by recognizing for 5 years of service in our clerk auditor office, Amy Gold. And do you say Gold?
Yeah, Gold.
Gold. So thank you so much, Amy. From the assessor's office, 5 years of service by Steve Hales. In our corrections department, 5 years of service from Alexandra Jeffers. At the Davis Park Golf Course, 5 years of service from Brad Yamashita. From the Valley View Golf Course, 5 years of service from Kay Casario. In our facilities department, 5 years of service from Todd Blanchard. In the information systems, 10 years of service by Scott Morrill. Also in information service systems, 10 years of service by Caleb Vinson. In our sheriff's department, 10 years of service from Corey Bodley. Health department in senior services division, 10 years of service from Johnny Brown. In our library system, 10 years of service from Michelle Groves. Also in the library system, 10 years of service from Cindy Julander. And from Sheriff's Department, 15 years of service from Henry Dahl. Here in the attorneys, the Office of the Attorney must be the criminal division, 20 years of service, and I hope I say the name right, Anthony Kahn. And finally, 25 years of service to our county in the Information Systems Department from Brian Downard. So thank you to all of you, and we're just so grateful when we have people who love their work at the county and do good work and stay for a long time. That's an efficient organization that doesn't have a lot of turnover. We appreciate the work of HR in that way too. All right, next on the agenda are the business and public comment. If there is anyone here who would like to give 3 minutes or so of public comment, we'd be happy to hear that. Seeing none, we'll move on to business and action. The first item is a memo of understanding with Weber State University. This is a partnership with Davis County Clerk Auditor's Office with the Weber State University Center for Community Engaged Learning on projects with individual students and classes. And the terms begin July 1st, 2020, ending June 30th of 2021. There is no financial information. Second item, this is a subgrantee agreement with St. Anne's Center doing business as the Lantern House. The agreement is for Social Services Block Grant, or SSBG, fiscal year 20-21 funding. This is for homelessness case management service, and we are so thankful for their partnership with us. When an individual is experiencing homelessness and needs a shelter, this is where they go, and the county contributes funds to St. Anne's or the Lantern House. Very grateful for their work. There's actually wraparound services to help them to get some help getting jobs and be able to get back on their feet there. So the terms begin July 1st, 2020, ending June 30th of 2021. This is a payable in the amount of $25,000. The next item is a resolution approving interlocal agreement with Woods Cross City. And this is for the Community Development Block Grant Program. That's a federal program as well, CDBG. This is funding for, it says PY?
Plan year.
Oh, plan year, good, thank you, Janet. Plan year 20-21 for, this is the Housing Rehabilitation Project Phase 2. The terms begin July 1st, 2020, ending June 30th of 2021. This is a payable in the amount of $160,000. Next item is a memo of understanding with Utah Education and Telehealth Network. The acronym is UETN. This is, well, there's a bigger description on this one, so I will share that now. The Davis County Library System receives discounted pricing on internet service. It's part of a consortium which is run by that Utah Education and Telehealth Network. So the library receives further discounts on internet service as UETN applies for additional discounts through the schools and libraries Universal Support Program, which is often referred to as E-rate. So the UETN's contract with the previous internet service provider and the library's previous memo of understanding with UETN ran from May 5th of 2020, let's see, looks like the little part part is
Like a typo.
it's a typo, isn't it? May 5th, 20 something, but importantly, and ended June 30th of 2020. So the UETN has contracted with new service providers for the consortium, and the new memo of understanding is for a shorter term, which is July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2025. So it is a 5-year memorandum. Under the previous agreement, this is nice to know. We always like cost savings for taxpayer funding. The estimated monthly cost for internet service at all locations was $2,913. Under the new agreement, the estimated monthly cost is $1,142. Though this agreement comes with an estimated $9,390 price to update infrastructure, the total estimated cost for the first year under the new agreement is still lower than previous years. And to note, monthly and infrastructure costs under this agreement are estimated because the additional discounts provided by E-rate funds vary from year to year because they are distributed based on the number of children, which is neat, children eligible for discounted rates on school lunch that are in that particular area. So libraries give us really great explanations. Thank you to the libraries. So to finish that one, the terms begin July 1st, 2020, ending June 30th of 2025. The payable is estimated $1,142 monthly plus estimated $9,390 one-time cost to update that infrastructure. Next item is an agreement with Western Technologies. This is geotechnical engineering services to evaluate the subsurface conditions and to provide recommendations for the proposed jail medical wing. So interesting, subsurface conditions. The term will begin when signed by all parties, and the final report submitted within 3 weeks after completion of that field work. The terms begin July 7th of 2020, ending July 28th of 2020. This is a payable in the amount of $4,000, and we're very excited to continue to watch that medical wing move forward. Anything you want to say about that either?
No.
Okay. The next item is an agreement from the Sheriff's Office with Prism Systems Corporation. This is for the security system upgrade or the camera system upgrade for the Davis County Jail. The contract is effective on the day that all parties have signed, and it terminates when parties have satisfied their duties. So the beginning date is July 7th, 2020 today, and there is not an ending date. This is a payable in the amount of $741,400. Let's see. Okay, the next one is a training reimbursement, like we often see. This is an agreement with our new deputy, Brian Joseph Lindstrom. This is training reimbursement agreement of benefits, wages, and training costs for special functions and basic corrections training. The terms begin July 6th of 2020, ending July 6th of 2022. This is a receivable in the amount of $13,518. And welcome to Brian Joseph Lindstrom. Next item also comes from the Office of the Sheriff. This is a grant coming from the Utah Attorney General's Office. So we've seen this one pretty regularly too. Very important work.
The grant application.
Oh, it's a grant application. Thank you. So grant application for the purposes of investigating internet crimes against children. This is the ICAC. Funding is estimated to be $24,002, but it will be determined upon awarding of the grant. So the terms begin July 1st, 2020, ending June 30th of 2021. This is a receivable and the amount is $1 for now. Also from the Sheriff's Office, this is an agreement with the Utah Communications Authority, or UCA. This is a service agreement for corrections radios. The terms do not have a beginning or an ending date. The payable is $1,390. Next, regarding our Legacy Events Center, we have an agreement with Morgan Industries Incorporated. This is for the preventative asphalt maintenance for the north parking area at the Legacy Events Center. The terms do not have a beginning date or an ending date. The payable is $66,203.90. The next item we do not need to address in this meeting because the agreement with asphalt preservation was taken care of in the June 30th meeting. From our facility department, we have an agreement with the State of Utah Department of Commerce.
This is also an application.
Oh, thank you. Application with the State of Utah Department of Commerce. It does not have terms of beginning or ending, but it is a payable in the amount of $200. And that one relates to a plumbing license, description, plumbing license qualifier for Jeffrey Krause. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, we like to see those coming through from facilities.
Yeah, he is. Correction facility.
Oh, great. Wonderful. It's when people keep improving their education while they're with us. Okay, the next comes from Community and Economic Development. This is an agreement with the state of Utah, and this contract amendment extends a contract for 1 year. The county received a $150,000 appropriation from the state for the purpose of the Bonneville Shoreline Trail work. And our planning department has spent about $90,000 on the NEPA environmental work. They have about $60,000 left to spend on other Bountiful Shoreline Trail projects. So that's great. Terms begin June 30th, 2020, ending June 30th of 2021. This is a receivable in the amount of $150,000.
Can we just note that this just extends the contract date?
Yeah.
And the amount doesn't change?
That's great to note. Thank you so much, Janet. Also from Community and Economic Development, this is an agreement with Alder Sales Corporation, and this is to replace the track and trolleys in the Stratus room at the Davis Conference Center. Terms begin July 7th of 2020, ending August 31st of 2020. Payable totals $179,705. From our Valley View Golf Course, there is an agreement with Mountain Land Supply Company, LLC. The description is a sponsorship, the 2020 Mountain Land Valley View Open Sponsorship. So this is a receivable to the county. The date begins July 30th of 2020, ending August 1st of 2020. The receivable totals $7,000. And that concludes our list of business and action items.
I'll make a motion that we approve items 1 through 15 as they have been presented to us with their respective dates and receivables or payables.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
I move that we recess to Board of Equalization.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you, Curtis.
Commissioners, you have for your consideration today, under your
abatements. You have several tax abatements to be struck to the county, or property that was struck to the county in the 2020 tax sale dating back to 2015, the 5 years. So we have 2 of those properties where you're abating those taxes because we now own the property. It wouldn't make sense for us to pay the taxes on the property since the property taxes would come to us. So you have that, and you also have a tax abatement for property that was purchased by a tax-exempt entity, and then you have 4 veteran tax exemption abatements for the year 2019. Under your assessor adjustments, you have penalty waiver applications totaling $1,093.66 with that report, and then under corrections, you have assessor initiated corrections totaling $142,042.
Thank you, Curtis.
I'll move approval.
Second?
All in favor?
Move that we reconvene commission meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Move approval of the check registers.
Second?
All in favor?
Move that we hold hearings for the 2 indigent abatements.
Second?
All in favor? Very good. Wonderful. So that brings us to the comments from people in the room who would like to share something with our public to keep people up to date on what's going on in our county. Anything from the attorneys? Mike, anything? Okay. And elections. Have you been able to give any? Yeah, I think you.
We'll give Curtis an opportunity to talk about elections. I'll take it.
Well, it was a great effort. Very, very proud of our team down in the clerk's office.
Yes, we still have a few ballots remaining that will be counted. At this point, we're receiving them in such small quantities that we will not release the final numbers until canvass, because we would jeopardize voters potentially having a private ballot. We're maybe receiving 1 or 2 on a day, and those are coming in from, we can still receive ballots for overseas and military, our UACABA voters, and so very, very limited.
What was that?
UCAVA?
UACABA. Yeah, UACABA is our overseas and military.
Okay.
So that's the acronym.
Okay, didn't know that.
Yeah. And so we have that fantastic effort by the elections division, Brian McKenzie, Shelley Jackson, and all of the staff down there to put together a drive-through election. About 900 citizens were served in that drive-through, and probably, I can't remember how many thousands of drive and drop ballots that we took on that day. But the vast majority of people that did use that facility were driving in and dropping their ballots. And so,
And never having to leave their car.
never having to leave their car, we did everything we could to make it as quick and efficient as possible so that we didn't have lines. We don't like to have lines, but really appreciate all of the efforts. And 2 weeks from today, we will have canvass ready for the commission to approve.
And I just want to add my observation and my congratulations to our Davis County elected clerk auditor and Brian McKenzie and all of the team in elections. I wanted to see it for myself. It was inclement earlier in the day, so they actually had the ability to drive through the Legacy Events Center, which opens up from the south end to the north end, and literally, because of the weather, they had prepared ahead and people were able to drive through and then not even get wet, right?
That's right.
When they voted. And by the time I finished my work day, the day had just brightened right up. So I didn't get to see the drive through the Legacy Event Center, which I was kind of sad because they'd already taken it outside, and it was still equally as wonderful. You just drove up and drove around, no lines, pleasantly greeted, very clear signage. When I was leaving this building, there were people literally coming to this building to do what they were used to doing in the past and drop into a ballot, but there were signs So they were redirected by signs, and I'm sure there was all kinds of notices out there.
And we've never actually had voting at this building, and so, unfortunately, we did have a campaign that disseminated false information.
Oh.
And so that's
That's
kind of
what
in the
happened.
hands.
Oh.
But the drive-through voting was actually still going while you were there. What you saw was the drive and drop. We still had the Legacy Center open. We had the capacity of 10,000. We could have put 10,000 people through that facility, and so we were certainly ready. We had no idea. We've never seen an election like this before, but we were ready.
By chance, was anyone on horseback?
No horseback. We did have people bike through.
Oh,
we
that's
had
so
some bikes.
cool.
And so that you can bike and drop as well. So
Well, that
Put that
makes,
challenge out there, Bob, somebody might take it up.
I don't know if a horse on that plastic floor would be a good idea.
yeah, it was great. I mean, they had even anticipated having signs here, which I guess I didn't realize that was even a stretch right there, that they would have signage here so people would know where to go, but they did. People were coming up, seeing the signs, and then going over to the right place.
Right, and so we look forward to a more normal election, hopefully in November. I'm confident that if we need to do another drive-through, we can do that. The plans are in place. We can bring them out. But my preference, and I will say this to anybody that will listen, would be to allow the clerks to manage the elections in the manner that is best for every county. And I think having places throughout the county, multiple places, polling places with drive and drop options, encourage people to drop the ballot that we mail to them. I think the quote in the newspaper last week for me was, do you know what you're going to get if you come to the drive-through polling location? The same ballot that I mailed you 3 weeks ago. So please don't slow down the process. That was me being subtle. And so as we move forward in this pandemic and the November election, certainly we'll have some emotion and some drive behind it. We would hope that I would hope that the clerks of the county can assess what is best for their county, their voters, which they know best, and provide the best options for each county. The drive-through worked phenomenally. I really appreciate the Legacy Event Center staff who bent over backwards. Davis County Sheriff's Office. This is the first time we've had any law enforcement. We had them in the Legacy Center and around the Legacy Center for traffic control, and because we just don't know how people are feeling right now.
Right.
And we hope that is not something that we continue in the future, but really appreciate Sheriff Sparks, such a great team player, always willing to jump in and help out. And then the event center staff was just phenomenal. They were amazing to work with, and we really appreciate their attention. But we look forward to a more normal, not a completely normal, but a more normal election and voting experience coming up in November. Hopefully with minimal in-person voting, with a safe environment for our poll workers and for the citizens, but then strongly encouraging people to drive and drop. And the more polling locations that I can have on election day across the county, the more of those drive and drops I can do, because we do have to close the polls at 8 o'clock, and there's some logistics to that as well. So.
Yeah, great comments. I know that there were some people who had moved to our county and weren't sure if they could still vote on that day. And I said, they asked me, and I said, I believe you still can. And by golly, they came and they were able to show proof of their current address,
If
yep.
they were already a registered voter in the state of Utah, we could update them and move them through. Had they not been registered voters, we couldn't do any
Yeah.
same-day registration.
And they just came from another Utah
Yeah.
county and were still cared for, still equally as efficiently, and they were just blown away by that, honestly. So,
It was a lot of fun. Brian, he had a lot of fun planning that and executing it several times as we were setting up, and throughout the day, he just kept saying, "Isn't this so exciting? This is awesome." I mean, he lives for election day. He was built for that day, and it's great that we have that enthusiasm and that drive to make it a success.
it's a great success. Thank you for giving us detail. Congratulations again to everyone working on that for our county. All right, so commissioners, any updates from Commissioner Stevenson, Commissioner Elliott? I just want to add my thanks to the clerk auditor's thanks for our amazing sheriff. He is truly a team player, and all of his deputies down there. We're very, very grateful to work with them. And then we mentioned this in last week's meeting, but once again, it kind of continues to this week. The governor of Utah will do an update to the state's public health recommendations and directives and order. All of that expires by Friday. And so we're watching for that update from the state. We anticipate staying in yellow phase as a state and as a county, unless there are cities or counties that ask for exception to that. And our public health director, as well as our policy team, we talk about it every single week, if not every single day, regarding our masks and our policy. And we have been pretty steady and data driven in the policy. So that continues. We anticipate having our own statement, perhaps our own directive. We're ready to be able to do that. A directive is different from an order. An order requires enforcement. A directive is guidance based on the current data in our county. So just a heads up that it's likely that we will have at least a statement, if not a directive, that comes from our commission, guided by our policy team and our health director, who is also an epidemiologist. And we're closely watching all the time the daily data to be sure that we are policy driven. We also coordinate with Weber County so that it's less confusing, and that continues to happen as well. So those are my only updates.
Just one correction.
Yeah.
I do not believe the order requires enforcement. I think it allows enforcement.
Oh, that might be. Yeah, that might be. It depends. I think Salt Lake County wants there to be education before citations, but there's a possibility of citations.
Right, allows.
Yeah, very good. And our cities have been unanimous with the commission to this point as far as the input that they have given to us. We've asked for their input every week. They give their input every week, and so far they want to continue with directives. So that their police forces don't have to pull people over or go and inquire. So that's where we are at as a county, but keep watching that. It's certainly a big discussion and an ongoing effort to keep our community safe. And with that, if there's no other comments, then we will adjourn our meeting. Thank you so much.